Hey, it's Jim Craddock. Today is a Saturday, April 12th, 2025. It's about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And it's been a pretty tough week. You see, it's been 9 days since I recorded something. It has continued to worsen. Uh, I have a condition. I don't know if you're just randomly running into my video, but I have a condition that's iatrogenic. That means it's caused by treatment. It's actually a treatment that I did about 30 years ago in 1995. And it causes extreme physiological changes that are basically invisible to modern medicine's way of testing things. And I mean, just a quick primer on why that is because it changes the way your body equalizes the electrolytes uh, across your interstitial spaces and your circulatory system. And it controls instead of basically you have a deficiency and this corrects that deficiency by allowing your system to do something it shouldn't be able to do. And so usually those electrolytes would just pass through you like normal, but due to some pressure changes in the circulatory system, narrowing of the inferior vena cava, causing a back pressure there across the kidneys, and some other issues with the kidneys, they are unable to get rid of some of these electrolytes. And so by putting your pituitary into an overdrive, you are able to push those electrolytes into other areas of their body, into other ways of getting rid of them, everything from sweat to feces to etc. And your body essentially can keep up and with it and for a while, and then it can't. And so you go through kind of a transition as your body kind of falls back on a second way of doing it. And so during that transition, all hell breaks loose in your body. But yet everything is still being held, and as far as your blood goes, everything looks normal. And so you're going through all these hormonal changes and physical sensations because you also have this candidiasis infection, and you also have this condition that's caused by the treatment that causes your body to kind of scavenge any cells that have been ruptured or anything. So like if you bruise or something like that, it goes away very quickly. Uh, and you can't really get a bacterial infection because it just eats up any of the stuff that's been infected. Uh, so uh, this last, I don't know, week or two, the legs have been a serious issue. I think I mentioned, let's see, Uh, well, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, so the elbow pain, I recorded that on March 11th. So we're right at a month from that when I recorded that. And so that was just a small kind of like a sharp pain in my elbow that was it was weird because it's unusual. And later that day, my whole bicep was aching, and I would still get that sharp pain in my elbow some, and I had that aching, and then my legs started aching a lot, and then it became very painful to walk. And it's weird because I go through these cycles of, oh, it's not painful to walk. Oh, it's painful to walk. And what I finally figured out is that it's related to, I think, just how much I walk. So walking across the room, walking 50 yards, uh, and it hurts a lot. If you walk very far, it starts just feeling like I mean, just like somebody slicing your legs or something. I can't really describe it. I mean, I have a general ache. So, for example, I did a lot of walking yesterday, uh, my mother-in-law, who I love dearly, is in the hospital, and I care for her a lot. And so I went up and visited her. And it's a long walk into a hospital. Even I had my wife drop me off at the door, and it's still a long walk. And I was just dreading the walk back. And then so we were there a few hours, and I got back to the car, and I was just so relieved. And then we get home, and uh, I get to sleep, and then I don't know. I went to sleep okay, and then at 4:45 in the morning or something like that, my legs were just aching. Oh my gosh, they were aching so much, enough that it made me moan for the first time with any of the pain that I've had in a long, long time. Uh, yeah. So, I wasn't able to sleep, and I got up eventually. Uh, and once I'm up and I eat, and I don't know, I mean, my system cleared itself out 5 times this morning, so which is not unusual. However, it's not consistent. My system is really messed up. That's basically on and off since October, and I have days like that. So, but anyway, the pain in my legs is if I just sit here still like this, I, right now, I mean, yeah, there's a little ache in my legs. And I was just out being quite active. I mean, I've gotten a lot of steps in, 3,600 steps, and it's only 2 o'clock, which for a guy that's basically like physically challenged, uh, I think that's pretty good. Uh, anyway, I made it out to Lowe's, and uh, then I went to another nursery that's local. Came home, planted some flowers. I was gonna plant tomatoes, but I didn't get them at Lowe's, and the other nursery didn't have any I like, so I got to go back either to Lowe's or someplace else to find some tomatoes. Uh, but I got some flowers planted and watered. I just, I made breakfast this morning. Uh, it was just French toast, but you know, I I'm trying to do everything that I would do if I felt okay, except for those things that are just out of the question. Like obviously I don't work out anymore. Uh, and obviously I'm not going to go run or ride a bike or even jog or jump up and down. I mean, it's fast movements can cause really sharp, sudden pains in my legs, like tearing, stabbing pains. But like I said, if I don't move, not so bad. Uh, I had a test this last week on my legs for circulation. It turned out normal. I didn't even talk to my doctor afterwards. I'm just so I don't know. I'm just so done. And I did write something to my Cleveland Clinic doctor and kind of explain what I've been through since I last saw him in the spring of 2023, really the winter of 2023, I think. But and he's like, well, yeah, it sounds like you should come see us again. And I don't think I can. It's I mean, thinking about being in an airport and with all the people and trying to walk in and out of clinics and hotels, and my wife would want to go see places and I wouldn't be able to go see places because I can't. uh it's just not. I mean, it's a shame really that I don't get better care locally. That doctors are basically a bunch of checkbox checkers and they're not scientists anymore. And we spend all this money on people in their last 90 days of life, And for people like me who've had a condition for 30 years that they have undocumented, uh, there is no care. There is, I feel guilty for getting a test because I know they're not going to have anything show up on it because of the way this condition works, and that I'm causing the system to use resources and spending my own money and the insurance money to get a test. And yet, I mean, 2 hours of somebody in a hospital probably covers every single test I've had in, quite a while. So I don't know. It's difficult for me. I'm just trying to make it day to day. My goals, well, I mean, let's just be honest. I don't have a lot of goals. So I mean, my goals are to do everything that I can that I would normally do whenever possible. And so, this morning I made the bed first thing, I cooked breakfast, and I've done a little laundry, and uh, I'm trying to live a normal life. I texted my son. Of course, I haven't getting any response there. That's what you expect from an 18-year-old, though. So I forgive you, Will. Uh, uh, Anyway, I won something though. I won a bid axe this week on X, so I don't know if it'll come, but I suppose it will. They said that they were running behind on shipments, and I I don't I don't see any further in my future than like these days. At least I see past 24 hours. There's been times when things are so severe when I can't see past 24 hours. And these days I at least see, I don't know, 48 or 72 hours, which sounds not much of an improvement, but it is for me uh, from some of the worst times. And uh, yeah. So I want to share a little bit about kind of what I think is next and, kind of how that'll impact me. So in the article, one of the things that always freaked me out that I didn't quite understand, I mean, I understand it, but I, I mean, so modern medicine doesn't have anything like this. I'll just put it that way. So it makes it very difficult to comprehend from a modern medicine point of view. But so this condition that I have, it's a volume depleting condition, which means that you slowly lose blood volume, and and you actually lose blood volume throughout the course of this 30 years. It's just there's different points at which you kind of go through transitions and lose more. And I actually donated blood at a poor time in 2018 and caused a transition. But anyway, so this is a volume depleting condition. And due to the way the heart works when you have this condition, so there's a difference in how it circulates the blood, and it causes this kind of suction to occur, more so in some phases than other phases of the condition, I believe. But as the volume is depleted, and this with the suction going on. Okay, so if you imagine if I go take a hose that's very flexible. Okay, so like one of the softest, squeeziest straws you've ever seen, or something like that, and just imagine. Okay, so that's a vessel, a blood vein. Okay, and or let's say first it's an artery. So and I'm gonna push blood through that, right? Well, man, I can pump blood through that and it'll go great. And I can slow down the pump, and that's fine. It'll still come out the other end, and I can vary the speed. And as long as that the pressure differential across that thing is enough, and the cross section of the straw is enough, I can get up through a lot of whatever fluid you want in there. Okay, blood, for example. Okay, but now then let's reverse that and say that you've got suction on one end of that really flexible straw. Okay, and so when it's suction, okay, and that thing is very flexible, all right, it tends to contract and get smaller as that suction occurs. So you can see how that actually enables you to have this volume depletion for one thing, because okay, yeah, even the cross-sectional area of your veins grows smaller, okay? But then here's the kicker is that so except for your major veins, all your minor veins, your capillary type veins, okay, they start to collapse. And even the minor veins that are in your gut and things like that, and so they collapse because if you can imagine, as you get basically the only reason that straw or whatever it is when you're sucking on it, okay, stays open is because fluid is coming through it. So if you do an experiment and just put your finger on the other end of that straw and keep sucking on it, it'll collapse, right? Okay. And that, as long as that suction is there, it will stay collapsed. Once it's collapsed, it is collapsed forever. It will not uncollapse because that suction is there and it pulls it together. And then because it's living tissue and it's pulled together, I mean, pretty soon you couldn't, even if you took off the suction, it's not going to unstick itself. So that is what has gone on throughout my body. And so my thinking was that they would be able to see that on the Doppler scan. But I think the Doppler scan must just look at the major veins and arteries. I don't know. I guess I could ask Grok or ChatGPT or something. Uh, and so as a result, it does. And the other thing is that so because of that suction, it somehow it pulls your all the veins and arteries to the surface. And so you wouldn't normally have an artery near the surface, but you would get the artery near the surface, and it gets into this epidermal layer that's really thick. And so then you have no blood flow, okay, to the muscles, and all the blood flow is in the skin. So it looks like the blood is flowing. You can feel the pulse and everything, but you don't have. Yeah, so that's why the walking is so difficult. It's because it's not getting any blood flow to the muscles. Uh, and so I guess what's probably happening is that my blood volume is decreasing and it continues to decrease in this stage and it just pulls more and more away from the legs. I don't know. But uh, uh, I think that is the source of my leg pain. And so in the what I was getting to was that in the article, something that was weird to me was that these people near the end of their whole course of the condition, they're confined to these chairs. Uh, and the reason they were confined to these chairs is because they've lost so much blood flow, okay, to their legs. And so if all the blood flow to the legs gets cut off, then that means the gut no longer has any blood flow because it's not going to stop at your waist. It's going to stop, okay, somewhere up here, okay. Uh, and uh, and so they would stay in these chairs to keep from basically causing those last few veins to be torn, and so they would still have blood flow. And it talked, I mean, it talked so much. This article was so long, and it talked about things like the awkward gait of people at this phase. I could tell you, I mean, you want to see me walk. I look like a 100-year-old man when I walk. And it talked about how they lean up against the walls, and I definitely get that because it's hard to just stand up. Uh, but they were confined to these chairs, and they would get up at a certain time of the day. I don't know what, and walk around. I thought it was like midnight, but I don't know. And then they would get back in their chairs and they would stay there for the next like 24 hours, and they would eat in that chair and everything. And it was even set up so that they could do their business from that chair. And it talked about how the chairs had to be cushioned because the people, their muscles were so wasted on your glutes and your butt that they couldn't sit on a normal surface. Yeah. definitely can relate to that. Can very painful to sit on a normal surface. I have to sit very slowly now because all the flesh in my legs is sensitive to pressure. Okay, it's an odd sensitivity. It's not a sharp sensitivity, it's a dull sensitivity. So if you push on my leg, like if my dog, so my dog weighs about 25 pounds, his little foot's about that big. So you figure if he's putting that's maybe a square inch, okay, and if he's putting most of his weight or jumping on that, that's about 25 pounds a square inch because that hurts. Okay, like, and it'll keep hurting after he steps on me and kind of pushes off or anything. Uh, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is just like that I can illustrate the pain with. Uh, no, I mean, I don't think so. Uh, anyway, it's a lot, and I'm pretty sure that this is something that won't ever go away. I've thought that before about like the arms and stuff, and the arms went away, and that was great. But this definitely seems like a from here on out type change, especially as the article went, that those people were confined to the chairs, and I mean, they were confined to the chairs for the rest of their life. And like some of them, this is, if you ever see me eating ice cream, it showed them eating ice cream. And it's interesting because this is one of the things that allowed me to at least get an approximate time of when this occurred, because I remember the people, so this one person I want to say that they were in an ice tub or something like that, which would make sense because the pain that you hurt will feel when it starts hurting. Like this morning when it was hurting so bad, I had to ice my like hips area. But uh, so they would eat ice cream as they got very near the end, and it said that that was basically just rushing towards their end because it was just loading their body with all the sugar and calcium from the ice cream because they couldn't pass that, and so it would just it said filling their tissues with the calcium and sugar. And anyway, it's kind of depressing, and there isn't anything like that in modern medicine. So, uh, it really doesn't. And that's one of the reasons why, for me, this thing was so fascinating. It's just like all like everything about this condition is bizarre, from like the initial treatment to all the phases you go through and everything. Uh, one of the things I wanted to mention was that I was thinking about the electrolyte issue and how, there was charts in there and it showed the electrolyte concentration like going up. So I'm pretty sure it was potassium, and it showed it like going up, and then it would reach some level at which it wouldn't be able to go past. And so I think that that level that it reaches is some type of a balance between the interstitial space and the circulatory space, if that makes sense. Okay. So because what's happening is the potassium is getting forced from the circulation into the interstitial space in that early stage. But at some point you reach a limit. And so my guess is that limit is when those two basically reach some type of equilibrium, and you can no longer cause that transition from one area to the other. Yeah, and it showed another graph too, where it kind of goes back the other direction after the heart attack that you have because of the excess potassium that gets pushed everywhere. Uh, anyway, it's it's a lot. I find solace and distraction in the markets and politics and creating my videos, in my work, in my wife. Uh, and uh, I'm doing the best I can. The markets are crazy right now. MicroStrategy is crazy. I've been selling covered calls for fun, and I mean, the volatility of MicroStrategy is an incredible strategy, I should say. But definitely a Bitcoin guy, so happy to win the bid axe and all that type of stuff. Uh, I made cookies last weekend, and I think I made cake the weekend before that. And, I'm just trying to keep myself busy because if I stop and I think about it, it's difficult. And, if you think about what is next for me, knowing what I know from the article. So I'm going to be walking around, which means I'm going to tear those blood vessels, which means my stomach is going to get cut off earlier than theirs would. So I don't know how long they were in those chairs, okay? But it was at a time about like now, like, not too far down the line from where I'm at. Uh, and uh, and I'm not going to be sitting in a chair all the time. So uh how much am I going to have to endure? That I think I'm most concerned. Like I'm not afraid of dying, and that may sound cocky or whatever, but when you've had a lifetime of existential crises, of I think it'd be similar to some guy that was a in a combat role for a long period of time, where he's just every day he knows this could be it, this could be it. And it hasn't been every day for me, but it has been often. And especially over the last 3 years, it's pretty much been an everyday thing. I mean, like every day something is so distracting, or so painful or uncomfortable or unusual, that you are forced to confront it daily. And so as a result, I'm not afraid of dying. I there's been lots of nights where I've gone to bed and been like, I don't know if I'll wake up in the morning. And obviously I have, and so those weren't important concerns at the time. But what it did was it just gave me practice for now, for when stuff is real. And so I'm not afraid of dying. What I'm afraid of is how much do I have to go through? How much worse is it going to be? And in the article, I talked about that, the person would most could die in the middle of a sentence or laughing while watching TV, because what would happen is, so the circulation stops, obviously to legs stuff. You can still move around, so the muscles still work, okay, because you're getting energy from ketones. So you don't have to have a circulation. Uh, it talked about how the ketones are like, for these people, they never laid down. Okay, so because when you lay down, the infection can and spread more places internally, because it's a contact-based infection. It's it only, and so they wouldn't lay down, and obviously I lay down, and so I I think mine will be a lot faster than theirs were. I mean, there were some horrible pictures in that article of people standing up, packed in ice, showing their skin, and how it talked about how some of the people's skin would just peel off. Like and I don't know if that's in previous phases. And I made it through that part of it. I don't think so. I've always thought that because there's some phases of this where your skin burns a lot, and so I would always use like antifungals of different types, more than one type, and put on my skin, and to be like, I hope that's helping. And I don't know if it did or not. It seemed to, but I don't think that that's the part it talked about with their skin peeling off and stuff like that. So, I'm left to ponder, uh, how bad is it going to get? And the thing is nobody out there knows what it is. So as bad as it gets, there will never be anybody who can treat it, and they'll most likely do the wrong thing. And the article was very clear about all the things that would be likely to be done that either A would just not show anything as a test, or B would actually cause things to get worse. So one is as a volume depleting condition, it literally said like every single drop that this person loses of blood is not coming back because of the way their system is built. The volume just contracts when you lose circulatory volume, so never gets replaced. And that's not usual. So nobody out there would expect. I mean, it is possible for somebody to get enough blood tests in a hospital, they become anemic, okay? But anemic is a whole different thing than just low blood volume. Okay, low blood volume with normal everything else, hematocrit and electrolytes and everything else, that's not going to show up in a test. They would have to do a blood volume test, and nobody does those. Uh, uh, so yeah, I think my largest concern is, how much am I going to have to endure? And at this point, I have flown past every goal date that I could possibly set. And given my limited mobility, I really don't have any more goal dates because it's not really that fun. I mean, life isn't that great when you can't walk around. And so I'm not setting any more goal dates. I mean, there's dates in my future, obviously. I know one thing that I'll never do is I've got concert tickets for May, for Kaleo, and yeah, I'm not going to make it be there because even if I'm still around, I know I won't be able to stand up, and it's a Cain's ballroom, so I won't be able to stand that long. Uh, so I don't know. I'm super excited for my son. I'm just going to say that thank you, Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, and just me being wise enough to invest at least semi-decently in those and gold and natural resources and things like that, knowing that, the big print is here and your dollars are going to zero at some point. But I can't afford to pay my son's tuition. It's coming from my IRA, but I really don't care, right? I mean, am I going to be spending the IRA? Only if I pay my son's tuition. So that's me enjoying my retirement, is paying my son's tuition. And but I'm sending him to Italy for an engineering class in May. It's the week from today. I mean, a month from today, he leaves for Italy, and obviously those are some significant dates there. He leaves a month from today, and he gets back the second week of June, and I really don't want to f that up, right? Uh, but I mean, there's absolutely nothing that I am going to change to try, to get to that date, and or expect myself to get to those. I'm not. No, it is difficult right now, and if I get there, great. If I don't, then I don't. I'm doing what can be expected. I think throughout the last 3 years since this last transition started, when the inferior vena cava back pressure collapsed, I have been through so much, and I have tried to do what I remember from the article. It's saying that was the right thing to do for these people. Okay, I no longer do those things. Uh, and the reason is that for a couple reasons. One is I made all my dates. I'm like, Christmas, that was in spring break. Wow. I mean, I'm just blown away by getting to those. Uh, uh, and so, I just don't feel a need to aim for a certain date. And so hopefully, everything goes well and my son has a great trip and everything else. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I started drinking alcohol again. And when I say that, you're going to say, "Oh, he's an alcoholic." No, I mean I have one drink when I like in an evening. I'll have one drink now instead of no drinks. And I started eating dessert again, and cookies and chips and because I finally got to the point where I have been trying to do the right thing for so long, which means mostly eating protein, skipping desserts, not drinking alcohol, all these things. And hey, maybe it added some time. I don't know. Okay. But I got to the point now where I'm like, you know what? It's bad enough. And it's obviously close enough that I think it's okay now to go have those cookies or do the whatever. Because I want a little bit of time that feels like I'm getting to do the things I want to do before whatever is next, when I'm not going to be able to do whatever I can for whatever amount of time until it's over. Uh, yeah. So anyway, obviously Trump's like totally nuts. I'm pretty sure he's trying to take over the country. You'll look back on this and say, oh, he didn't take over the country, or, oh, yeah, that's what he did. But I mean, here's, what I see is, some type of oligarchy, technocracy, kleptocracy, where you've got the billionaires coming in and saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is make a lot of money. And then we're going to change the system so that we make more money. And so, I mean, they've manipulated the markets. They've come in and shut down all the investigations into Elon's companies. And I mean, folks, Doge did not seriously change expenses. I don't know if you've been out there to look, but this government spending this year so far is slightly higher than last year so far. The budget that they pass is going to have a deficit, a large deficit, and that's going to continue. And they're going to have to fund it. And at some point, I mean, the rates have been all over the place this week, but at some point we're going to have to go to something else. Okay. You got two choices right there, as far as I know. I mean, you got whatever world liberty coin or whatever. That's what we think of that, Trump. But but you've got Bitcoin and gold. Okay. So I own mostly Bitcoin related stuff, maybe 10 or 12% in gold related stuff. I don't know. I'd have to look. But gold's done very well, and Bitcoin has done very great. I mean, it's only 84 or something today. I mean, I'm not going to check right this weekend, but considering it was 74 last week, hey, right? Uh, so the world is crazy right now. I find it fascinating, and it keeps me fascinated, and may you live in interesting times is really true. I think it really helps. Okay. It's a little bit terrifying to know that I won't be here to guide my son and be there to lift him up, or do what I can to help him at different times in his life. But I'm helping him financially, and I've left him. I don't know how many videos I've got. I'm sitting here looking at my videos on YouTube. So that page has 30. That page has 30. And that page has got about 15. So yeah, I've got 75 videos scheduled for the future. And they're not for my son. They're really just updates for you all, whoever wants to know, hey, what did Jim go through with this weird condition called terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major. Uh, and and I've sent a lot of emails to Future. That's one of the things I'll have to do this weekend, along with my taxes and planting tomatoes, is bump those out another week. Every week I bump them out. Like the first one is scheduled for Monday right now. It's delivered to me. That way, if it ever accidentally sends, which I've had happen and it wasn't good, but I managed to save the day, uh, then I will see it and know, oh my gosh, yeah, this week was pretty close. I almost forgot because I bumped that one and said, okay, tomorrow I'll do the others. And then it was like 5 o'clock before I remembered to do the others, but I got them done. So I have to bump all my videos out. I have to bump all my emails out. I have to bump my Twitter posts out, which I think are scheduled like right now, is scheduled for the 16th. Let's see here. I'm going to check over here. So if I look at my scheduled post right now, yeah, 16th is the first one. So that's 4 days away. So, obviously when I bump everything out, I'm going to bump that one out too. And so there's some Twitter posts out there that just basically, kind of point you in the right direction to find out what happened to me. Uh, I don't know what else to say today. I think if I was somebody in the United States and Trump, Vance, Elon, slash all the hegemonic oligarchs, are still in charge, then I would be looking for somewhere else to live. Because I think that, you know, someplace like Norway or Central America or something, because I don't think that it'll be good here. I could be wrong. But I think AI and robots and all that stuff are going to be interesting, but in the end, all that means is we just need less people. Uh, and I mean, that's the way the world's headed with the population replacement rate being negative and all that type of stuff. So, uh, I just don't know what I would say for people, what to do, but I would certainly consider becoming a sovereign individual somewhere else. And yeah, if you catch the hint on my video today, you'll know how much I dislike Trump. Uh, anyway, I don't have a lot else to say today. I want you to know, whoever's watching this, that as of today, yeah, my legs ache and it's hard to walk. But and other than that and the stomach issues, I pretty much feel close to normal. I don't know. It's difficult to even describe at times. So knowing how messed up my system is physiologically, from hormones to just the way the energy is created in my body, and the way food is only passed through your systems for the electrolytes or to get rid of electrolytes at different phases, that you're really not there to consume calories. It's really weird. And even as I say that, I know that nobody is going to understand it, but it's the truth. And, if you're watching this and I'm not around, I think that, at least the evidence would appear to be that I was right about things, uh, which is the whole scale of evidence that we have is me not being here anymore. Because so far there has been no evidence other than the fact I can't walk. But here's the deal. So yeah, so my doctor knows I'm having trouble walking. My neurologist knows I'm having trouble walking. But all they do is send you for a test. And if they don't know why, if that test comes back normal, they don't have a backup plan. They don't keep looking. And I don't, you have to go to some place where there's like really expert people like Cleveland Clinic or something. And then that's a whole thing. I mean, obviously it's expensive, it takes time. And once again, they're not going to be able to do anything. So I'm really just there to try to document something. And I'm like, is that worth it? Is it? I don't know. I don't think it is. If I thought that they could do something, which they can, which was made very clear in the article, then yeah, I think I'd be going. But I, I I just don't think they can. And I if you're watching this and whatever my last days were like really horrendous and you had to sit through that or witness it or watch it or whatever, I apologize. I I don't know what to do different. I'm trying everything. I'm a smart guy and I feel like I've got a handle on the situation and that I'm doing what's best and that I have done what's best. I think any normal person who didn't know that they had this condition, which would be kind of weird since it's iatrogenic and they would have had to get it from being treated. But if you were to just develop this condition, you would go nuts. But knowing that I've had it at all these transitions, yes, I freaked out at the transitions because uh, you realize, hey, this is real, and I know what's in my future because I've read it, and it is not pretty, and that creates this panic slash hysteria slash just depression and everything else. But uh, I don't know. I lose trains of thought too now, and I'm not high, which is usually if I'm high, that'll happen, but I'm not right now, and I still lose trains of thought. Uh, anyway, I'm doing what I think is the best thing to do, and I think that if somebody else had had this, what I was trying to say was that if somebody else had had this, they would have had the wrong thing done by now, and they probably wouldn't be around. Or they would have killed themselves, honestly, because it's a rough thing. Now it's cool, in some ways, in that it makes you look young. So I've demonstrated before, I'm 50, coming up on 56, and you're not going to see any real wrinkles on my face, and keeps your skin tight. Yeah, does that. Keeps you thin, does that. Yeah, because the only weight you can gain is fluid and electrolytes during all you can from the time you get this condition on, you cannot create new fat cells. Uh, and so all the weight I've ever gained is either fluid or electrolytes or both, which is interesting. So I don't know. It's just a weird thing, folks. And I know this has been a long one today, but there's at least a chance it could be the last. And I know I say that every time, but I mean, what else am I going to say, right? It is undocumented, redacted knowledge that I'm doing my best at to, document as I go along. So uh, I guess that's it. Love to my family. I love you. Take care of my dogs. And yourself, obviously. And never sell your Bitcoin. Learn to borrow against it with like Lava XYZ or something like that. And uh, borrow when it's down, not when it's up. Borrow when it's down. Don't spend it. Buy more Bitcoin. When it gets up, sell the Bitcoin, pay off the loan, and spend some extra. Or don't pay off the loan and just keep accumulating because Bitcoin should stay ahead of whatever interest rate they're going to charge. I think that's it for me, folks, today. I'm still keeping on, still doing my job, still providing for my family, uh, and I'm pretty proud of all of that. Thanks for watching. Hey, share my story with people it's a crazy story. Some guy gives himself a condition that has been removed from medical books, and he tries to tell everybody what it is, and nobody believes him. He documents the best he can about what he remembers, but the real research is out there somewhere. It's out there somewhere. It's just not online, and it is not easily accessible because they've removed the ICD-9 code, and it's just they have done a great job of hiding the knowledge of this condition. I'm wondering what they're going to say, in the end, like what did he have? But I don't know. Peace.